How will you protect your wealth in apocalyptic events? Hello, Adriaan here for Bitcoin for Beginners. In this new series I will walk you through the top 5s of all things Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. This episode is slightly broader and we will talk about 5 ways to protect your money for crises and apocalyptic events. Also keep in mind that everything in this video is personal opinion and not investment advice. Please pause the video here to read the disclaimer. In fact, the video isn't even about investments, more so just tips on how to prepare yourself for crisis situations. So this so-called investment portfolio is not really meant to make any profits. It is more to protect your wealth and purchasing power in times of crisis or, in worst case, apocalyptic events. And 2020 has shown that this can happen to any country for many reasons. So it is a good idea to be prepared for different scenarios. Of course, real prepping is taking a far more full-scale approach, including food hoarding, etc. But the Apocalypse investment portfolio is only a diversification of monetary assets for different levels of severity and/or duration of disaster. We will discuss them in order from low crisis level to severest apocalypse. First thing to protect your wealth is to make sure you have your own real estate, preferably your own house with no or very little mortgage. In any type of crisis, this can give you a good amount of comfort. Perhaps you can decide to buy a smaller house than you could afford to be able to pay it off as quickly as you can. Commercial property is usually not doing so well during crises and depressions, and it doesn't serve personal benefit unless you are running your own business from it. Real estate is relatively inflation-proof as its value will remain relatively stable. Regardless of how much hyperinflation, the value of one house is always one house. Soaring rents and inflation will have small effect on the homeowner's stored value, and it guarantees the ability to keep a roof over your head. Before we continue, if you enjoy our content, please like this video and additionally subscribe to our channel for more of our updates. It is not unlikely that at some point in time the banking system could fail, is temporarily or more permanently being disrupted, or communication networks don't function. Especially in more and more as cashless functioning societies, such event means no payments can be done anymore. However, when you always keep a certain amount of physical cash at your direct disposal, you will still be able to transact and buy food for a certain period, depending on how much you keep aside. The amount depends on how much you can afford and safely store at home, but I would recommend that you have enough for expenses for at least 2 to 4 weeks to bridge at least the first gap. Bitcoin might become useful when a crisis or disaster becomes more severe and/or for a longer period. But at least the expectation is that it could also protect against inflation of fiat money, because Bitcoin so far is appreciating in value and its fixed money supply could turn out to be a safe haven against endless money printing if and when people lose confidence in the true value of fiat money, though this is still a theoretical expectation. But Bitcoin certainly offers the possibility to opt out of the regular financial system of banks and fiat currency, may the need arise, and for those that wish to. If fiat money or the legacy system fails, Bitcoin does have a currency completely independent from government and the banking system, and it is also a fully functional payments network as alternative from the legacy banking payment system. If the legacy system is completely collapsed or shut down for whatever reason, just download a Bitcoin wallet and everyone should immediately be able to continue economic activity. Provided, of course, that there is still electricity and internet, at least for the most part. If even that is not available, then even Bitcoin becomes exponentially more difficult to use as a viable system, which means the next best option is back to basics. In uncertain times, normally the demand for gold and silver rises, so in that sense it might be helpful as a protection of wealth against hyperinflation, as over centuries it has kept its monetary value fairly well against more inflationary money such as fiat, despite price swings in shorter periods. But also physical gold and silver like these coins are in your own possession, so you don't have to depend on any other technology or third party to facilitate trade, like people did for centuries with these precious metals. So even if there is no physical cash, the internet is out, there are no banks and no Bitcoin network, then gold and silver are likely to be used to enable trade. Or you can just save it to store a part of your wealth until after the crisis passes. Moving on to zombie-like apocalypses or even an alien invasion level type of events. In these scenarios, even gold and silver may not be in any demand because everyone is only interested in gathering essential goods for survival. Gold and silver may then lose all their purchasing power, and you might then just better off keeping it yourself until better times. More valuable will be barter items in the form of other essential goods that you could trade for others. And there are many that you can choose from, but you might want to stock on those that are durable, easily divisible, essential, cheap to purchase now, but potentially scarce and in high demand after an apocalyptic event. And also consider size of the items because of your storage space. There are several ideas that you can choose from, like this article that gives a top 10 of currencies more valuable than gold after the apocalypse, of which their number one suggestion is salt. As explanation they give, salt is literally the original currency, historically speaking, and the word celery is derived from the word salt, to put it in historical context. Further, they claim that the lives of humans, the fates of empires, and the seasoning of meats the world over have hinged on the production and distribution of salt for centuries. Also, it is extraordinarily cheap to buy now, there is virtually no expiry, and it is better divisible in any size for a portion than most other forms of barter or physical money. Another suggestion is perhaps even soap bars, which I got from this memoir of a World War II soldier that narrates his experiences in Europe during the war. He writes, "In general, the French people treated us very well. The farmers would trade eggs for candy, cigarettes, and soap. And indeed, during the Second World War, soap was an extremely scarce item in high demand and thus extremely valuable compared to what it is worth in peaceful and prosperous times. You can also have a whole bunch of small hotel bars that are tradable in smaller sizes, like this one." Well, that's it. Hopefully you find these suggestions useful, but let's just hope that nothing of the sort will ever happen. But if it does, at least you are well prepared with such an apocalypse investment portfolio. What alternative ideas do you have to invest in for such a portfolio? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to like the video and subscribe to our channel. After you have done that, you can continue watching another video that is displayed over here. See you in the next one.